Work 85 back to hang up the Monsta P feeder from Wildgame Innovations. I had this set up last year between these two trees. Had the board, the pulley system. Unfortunately, it was too close to the trees. We had bears climbing up the trees, swatting the heck out of the feeder. Let me pop in a picture here of how that feeder looked when you could really tell a bear was beating on the thing and half hanging off. So I'm gonna try something a little bit different this year. Going to go between some wider trees with a wire. Suspend this from a wire, and hopefully it's enough that the bears can't reach it. If they can figure out that they bang on the wire and the corn will come out, there's really nothing you can do about the bears. Just trying to keep it so they don't get all the feed within just a couple days. So we're going to go ahead and start setting this up. You can use the pulley system. Like I said, the wire, hook the wire onto the handle here and have it come down between the trees, fill it up, and then we'll go ahead and hoist it back up. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. Now, we have our plastic coated wire, and we have a couple clamps on it, and then we have our rope that we'll go ahead and put through the pulley, and halfway through I'll go ahead and clamp this onto the bucket also. So that's how the bucket will stay onto the wire, and hopefully they're not going to, since it's not a 2x4, they're not going to be able to climb out on it. They will be able to bang it, maybe shake the thing, but you can only do so much. So we'll get this one on. Again, got it clamped up. I might have been able to clamp a little tighter, closer up there, but that's okay. But it's not going anywhere. Didn't cost very much. If I can remember, it was like $8 for 20 feet of wire. These clamps are like $1.25 each, or less at Lowe's. So it's not going to be very expensive to set this up. Probably about maybe $20 in parts. So that's on there good. I got a nice strong knot. I got to go ahead and feed all this rope through the pulley, and we'll cut it, and then we'll use the half on the other side. So we'll see how that goes as we're doing it. But we're going to have rope on both sides, and instead of having like a one nice rope where you let it both down, you're going to have actually two sides that you'll have to be undoing. So we'll see how that goes. Not sure how it's going to work yet, but we shall find out. Alright, if I can get all these mayflies from stop attacking me, I'm going to get up on the opposite tree now, go ahead and put my other hook in and pulley, and then we'll pull the rope through, put the tie on, and see how we do. We're tightening up the two clamps, the two bigger clamps, onto the bucket handle, and we have our wire rope, or plastic coated wire, through it. It's right in the center of our two pulleys, so we have it down, and as you can see, a nice height to work with. We'll be able to fill it up and hoist it back up. The only thing is, if you're here by yourself, you might have to let one side down a little bit, go over to the other side, let it down a little bit. Same thing with going up, but that's okay. That'll work. Did put this chain on the side because I did have some issues with raccoons knocking the lid off of the one at home. Had the bungees on there, and they bit right through the bungees. So we went to the chain, put a little piece of chain on here, and these ropes are really just on there so the chain doesn't bang against the side of the tank or the bucket and make a lot of noise. So we're about to the point where we can go ahead and set the timer, fill it up, and then go ahead and hoist it up, and it should be ready to go. We'll see what it looks like at that point, but So far so good. So far I'm liking what we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and get the hoist it up a little bit more, get the battery set. Now I'm going to have this go off only one time a day, 7 o'clock in the morning, and that's because it should last about 3 weeks or so, maybe 25 days, if I just have it going off once a day instead of a couple times a day, have the timer going off. So that way should last a little bit longer if I don't happen to get back up in here, or if you have this set up back in the woods a little bit, you know you don't have to go in there every 2 weeks and fill the darn thing back up again. They'll get used to the corn coming in. That'll be enough to keep them in the area. Around, they'll do the browsing on everything else, of course. A little bit over here, we do have the field. The clover's just starting to come up. They'll be over here munching some corn, going over there getting a little bit of clover. Going to put a little bit of a mineral substance down here too, just a little bit to get them used to coming in. Lift it up a little bit. There we go. Now I can work on the timer, and I'll show you one other thing I did in here too, as I find the battery. And now inside, here's our motor, and our wires are hooked up. And I put this elbow bracket in there because the last time the bears were pushing this back and forth, the battery was sliding across back and forth on the bottom, knocked out the wires from the motor, so of course it wouldn't spin at its designed time. So I put that little elbow bracket in. This should fit right in there. There we go. And that'll, now if it gets knocked around, you can see that battery's nice and tight in there, and it's not going to go anywhere. Alright, we're going to set our clock 11:58. And clock, and here is our feed 7 a.m. Duration 5 seconds. The battery spin is high, RPM wise. So here's our feed 1 is all set, and we'll just go through and make sure our feed 2, feed 3, feed 4 are all off, which they should be. We can go ahead and test it now. And I'll just spin on empty. So we can go ahead and put this in. We'll fill it with corn, and then we'll go ahead and test it one more time. And then every morning 7 a.m. for probably 3 weeks, it'll be going off. I'll shut the door for now. Whatever. Here goes our rope stretch. There's still 2 kernels this time. It's nice and full. Don't even have to dump some more so we can get that lid on there good. Pulleys are working good. They're doing their job. Let's get our chain back on again. Stretched a little bit. Let's see if I can get it up a couple more inches. Cut some of our rope off. We'll have a little bit extra for another project. Now I'm about 6'1" or so, and I can barely touch the bottom. The bears around here are about 5 feet. Hopefully they won't be able to get to this. I don't think there's too much else I can do. Try to pull it up just a couple more inches, but Maybe have to go a little higher on the tree or so, but that's about as high as this ladder would take me. But at least we know that they can't hang on one and beat on the feeder until it knocks all the corn out. You can only do so much when you're working with bears and to try to bear-proof things. So this is about what I kind of came up with. A little bit unique. I haven't seen it before, and hopefully if you're in the same situation with some bears and you're trying to feed some deer, but you do have those pesky bears that all they want to do is sit down here for hours and vacuum the corn up, this will maybe keep them away a little bit. So I'll put a game camera on here and see what we have. It's something I picked up at the end of the year, Walmart I guess it was, or one of those other type stores. After the hunting season, you know how they put this stuff on clearance. I picked it up. We're just going to put a little bit under the feeder as an attractor to get this started, to get this site going. Of course, the squirrels and chipmunks will find this corn soon enough. We'll spread a little bit of this out. And I like getting this stuff at the end of the season, and you pay about a third of what they have it for before the season. And so that's one of those things. If it doesn't work, you don't feel like you're quite out so much money. But if it kind of attracts them to the site and gets it started, so it's worth it. Go ahead and spread some of this out down here. Looks like it's got some feed in there, feed pellets. And of course that attraction smell, some protein, salt, 11% protein against some calcium. So we'll get this site started. Get this, the bears will leave it alone, and be in good shape. Back for the first time to check it, and definitely have some bears here as we thought. First thing you can see in the background here is where I put the rope. Well, that is definitely broken, and I think that's because bears were going up that tree. I can see some of the bark that they took off of it going up and down. Still hanging up there as it was, and it does look empty. I'm gonna let it down. I'm gonna see if I can get nails and fix that one piece for the rope. Again, let's come over, take a look. There was a screw in here that they right there that looks like it snapped off of there, and I can definitely see some claw marks, but they're definitely after it. I'm sure they weren't happy about it being out of range like that, but I'm going to get it down and fill it up again and see what we can do. At least it's not yanked down. As we know, sometimes bears like to mess with cameras, and that thing is off the tree. It's not facing in the direction that I wanted to. I know before it was a complete failure as far as being up on that that wood right there, that 2x4. So I'm gonna let it down and see what I can do to fix some things and fill it back up again. Take a look over here. That used to be our signpost right there. And if we can see that it's on the ground and in pieces. Flip this over, I'll show you why. Carpenter bees drill into this, of course, and the bears know those bees are in there, and they go after those carpenter bees. So I'm going to go ahead and take this home and give it a fix up and maybe repaint it a little bit and get it back to as it should be. I know there's a lot of bears around here, and oh, if we pan down a little bit, that's exactly why I have this on with me. I'm not going to get caught out here by myself, and between me and a bear and maybe her cubs. Certainly don't want that to happen, and I'm going to try to avoid it the best I can, but certainly not going to leave myself unprepared. So this White Rook 85, signing out from Camp Good Time, deep in bear country this time.